only time I ever actually get to sit down with a hot drink at night.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the whole reason we do the podcast,
So I can
is for date night.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's good or bad. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Matt and Fiona Show. We are so happy that you're here and joining us today. We are in the countdown to Christmas. Thus, we're leading into our slate of Christmas shows. Because
rightfully so.
Just like a Hallmark movie.
You expect
December's
it too.
all about Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which is why I'm wearing my Christmassy flannel.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Definitely not Christmas here, but that's okay.
Or a little letter Kenny style, but
Maybe next week I'll bring out the Christmas.
we could match. Matching flannels.
Keep that file that back there.
All right. We are going to get right into this, but before we do, just a quick reminder, please like and subscribe to all the channels, all the things. You can find us on your favorite podcast platforms. So find us on your favorite podcast platforms. All right, we are going to jump right in
Yes.
to a episode about Christmas and kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why I'm starting this, but I'll start it for a second.
Sure. We'll go with that.
Christmas is a wonderful time of year.
Yes, it is.
It's also an incredibly stressful time of year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I realized how stressful it was until we had kids.
100%. Yes.
Even though it was stressful before,
Mm-hmm.
just because we've got a big family, we always do a lot of family things. We do a lot of Christmas event things at church, and there's just December is always seems like the shortest month of the year. It
that
just
we
seems
pack
to fly.
everything into.
Yeah, all the random people.
yes.
You're like, we should get together for coffee or dinner or whatever. And it's like, we're going to do it when the restaurants are jam-packed full of people and you can't get a reservation. That seems like the appropriate time
Best
to try
time
this.
to do it. Yes.
Yeah. Which is why we tied somebody else in over Thanksgiving.
Yes.
It was like, perfect win.
Yep.
Oh, side note. Happy birthday, Jen. Plus 11. No one but she and her family will get that, but we'll see if they watch. All right. Back to the stressful aspect of Christmas. It is one of those things where when you have kids, Christmas was stressful when we just had Cohen, right? That first year. And I don't think the social media aspect was playing in at all at that stage.
I would honestly say, yes, it was stressful.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't bad.
It wasn't terrible.
Add two more.
And I found it, it's one of those things as a mom, you want to do all the things and you want to make everything perfect and you want all the experiences. And like you said, you take all of that and you take everything and pretty much wrap it into 3 weeks when normally the same amount of stuff you'll take at least 3 months to accomplish. So as we had more kids, I realized that I started honestly hating the month of December.
Speaking of kids.
There goes one.
Go to bed, child.
So we tried to fit literally all the things, the baking of the cookies.
Normally I'd stop it, but this is the perfect one. There's a child down there.
Right there.
No, you're not getting in the camera. Go.
No, here.
Go. Bed. But yeah, you do. You try to fit in all the things. You try to do all the events, all the drama, all the whipped shortbread, which is the one thing that cannot be removed from that list. We're not going to get real far in this one, it seems. Hey, you. Huh.
Finished Christmas pajamas too, though.
Yeah, we're going to edit this out.
Uh-huh.
Where were we?
Okay, so I know where I was at.
Where were you?
I was at the fact that, so in the month of December, I was trying to fit
All the things.
3 months worth of stuff, 3 to 6 months worth of stuff into a matter of 3 weeks. And it got to the point, which I realized, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, I think it was last year, where I was like, I started dreading the Christmas season because I was stressed, I was overworked, overtired, and I was starting to be like wondering, I was trying to make it all perfect for my kids. Realizing that by trying to make it all perfect, having a mother who's completely stressed out and no effort and energy for anything really doesn't make anything perfect. And I think it was last year I decided, and even more so this year, I decided that, you know what? It doesn't matter what anybody else does.
No.
It doesn't matter how many presents are, and we don't even honestly put presents under the tree. How many presents the kids get. It doesn't matter how many cookies we bake.
Well, whipped shortbread has to be made.
I make that every year. That is like,
just saying.
That is a.
I'm reminding.
I went through it and I have plans for it next week. So don't worry about it. That is
just a helpful help.
Well, there were some of those years where I was like, man, I want to make like 4 to 5 different kinds of cookies and.
Well, and we have friends who. Like, how many cookies does she make?
Oh my gosh. We have a few.
Like hundreds of dozens.
Yes. We have a few people we know that just make and make and make.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Totally.
I don't enjoy baking.
Right.
I love cooking, but I don't enjoy baking. I will do it because the kids enjoy it. So I limit myself. So I think the whole point of this is I've learned to kind of temper how many activities and my expectations of what the month of Christmas is going to be like. Even to the point this year, I'm like, you know what? Like, I can even take it easy on the presents.
Yeah.
Because, funny story. I was sitting with the kids and we were sitting in the kitchen around the island. We're just kind of talking about Christmas.
Yep.
And I just had mentioned, I was like, it was the 3 of them. I was like, what would happen if we didn't have any presents for Christmas this year? What is really the important factor about it? Just kind of curious to see what their response is. Yeah. And our 7-year-old was like, well, Mommy, can we still be together as a family? I'm like, well, yeah, well, good. We just need to be together as a family. I mean, she may partially be just giving me the right answer.
Yeah, she's still going to want presents.
Right. But then our 4-year-old pops up and goes, Mommy, I need presents. I said, don't worry, baby. We've already bought you some. But just making that point that some of the things that kind of steal our joy, put a lot of pressure on us, those aren't necessarily the things that matter. And when we put the pressure on ourselves to create all those things, we take away from what the season really could and should be about.
Well, and I got talking about this with a customer of mine the other day, and not specifically about Christmas per se, but the general concept in general. That one of my frustrations kind of right now is that so many people think of, in this case, Christmas as, again, that fairy tale white Christmas event, Hallmark movie event, or worse, like the Instagram Christmas. Right. Of these people that are taking like sonotubes and creating 8-foot tall nutcrackers for their doors. I know. And again, some of that stuff is amazing.
And if you love doing it, go for it.
If you love doing it, if you have the time, if you have the money, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. But recognizing that if you don't have the time for that, it's okay too. And, to your point, I look at my favorite Christmas memories going back, and I remember a handful of gifts, right, that I've got over the years, but for the most part, nobody remembers the gift they got. 2 weeks later, a month later, a year later.
I remember the boombox I got when I was 16.
Well, yeah, you needed something to rock out to, maybe Pearl Jam, maybe. No?
Remember REM?
REM? Oh gosh.
I don't know.
This is where our age difference shows up. But it's not to sound like I'm beating a dead horse here, but the commercialization of Christmas is terrible, right? And it becomes that whole thing of, how much can we get our kids and what are we going to do for them and how many presents will you have?
Right.
And I look at the thing that goes around every year of, don't get your family as many things and get them experiences, right? If you're going to spend money,
right,
get an experience, get something that you'll remember, something that's memorable, because, again, nobody needs a ton more underwear or undershirts or socks or, really nice flannels, which I do love. Most people have the majority of what they need, right? And it's something that we've kind of tried to move towards, is doing things that are more meaningful. Again, whether it's a tangible thing or whether it's an experience or whatever, but trying to focus on the family aspect, not just buying stuff for the sake of buying things.
Oh, geez, no.
And if I can, we were supposed to just have a nice, friendly podcast on this one.
Yes.
But I'm going to rant for a second.
Go for it.
I'm going to try and find a vein to rant on this in that's not super offensive. I do think you need to sit down with your kids and have a conversation about Christmas, especially if they have a large social circle or if they're in school or whatever.
Yeah.
Because one, if they believe in Santa, and I have no problem with Santa. Our kids don't believe in Santa. They love the movies about Santa, but they don't get a single present from Santa. It's
character.
Not a thing in our house.
No.
Again, you do you, don't care. But, for example, if your kids do believe in Santa, and I've talked to a couple teachers and a couple principals who have somehow we've had this conversation.
Okay.
If your kids believe in Santa and you have a family that spoils their kids and their kids are getting Xboxes and Razor scooters, you can tell how old I am, and whatever the hot, cool thing is.
Right.
They're getting iPhones.
Right.
For Christmas in grade 5. Right? Like all the ridiculousness, all the over-the-top gifts.
Yep.
And then you have other families that maybe aren't able to do that.
Right.
And all of a sudden it's...
Or choose not to.
Yeah. And all of a sudden it's, when they get back to school the week following Christmas, well, why doesn't Santa love us?
Yeah.
Or, again, if Santa's out of the picture, if it's just parents, why don't we get any... why don't we get this? Why don't we get that? These guys got it all. And all I'm saying is, I think it's really good to sit down and have a conversation, especially if your kids are in those social circles and exactly, again, if you've got a circle of friends or if your kids are in school and they have other families around them,
right?
You know who it is.
Yes.
Who's on both ends of that spectrum,
yep.
Right? And I think it's very important to have some logical real life conversations with your kids, again, about Christmas, about presents, about the fact that, mommy and daddy love you and that's why they buy you these things for Christmas. We always try to be really good at trying to not just buy frivolous things. We've always tried to be really good at, because kids love Christmas. They want to have that joy. They want to open all the presents. We want them
to have that joy.
Yes. Oh, yeah, yeah. None of this is to take any of that away.
No.
But one of the things that we've always strived to do is rather than get a bunch of random toys or a bunch of ridiculous things that they really don't need.
No.
Right? And again, we're not like minimalist people or anything like that. But
although sometimes I would like to be.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah.
It's okay.
But what we try to do is we try to, get them a couple things that they really want. right? But also get them a bunch of stuff that they need so that they have the fun of opening all the presents for Christmas. And
with the clothes that they need anyway.
Yeah, but because we've started this at an early age, right?
Yeah.
Our kids get super excited when they get T-shirts and church clothes and, you know,
and a
stuff for
toothbrush.
schools. Yeah, stuff for school and you know, outdoor stuff for ski season and like all the things.
Yes.
Right? And hopefully they're not listening to any of this. But it is one of those things where you have an opportunity over Christmas to teach your kids a lot of really important things, right? You have the opportunity to teach them that it's better to give than to receive.
Yes.
And this is the easiest time of the year to teach them that.
Right.
The joy that your kids will get from you as the father taking your children shopping for your wife, their mother. Yeah. Which we still need to do.
We have time. You do it every year.
Yeah, we still got time. But right, when you teach that at a really early age, right, how much fun it is to go out and take two kids to buy something for the other kid. Right? Cohen's already asked me if he can go out with me.
Cohen's asked.
He's asked you to
go out.
Maura's asked me as well. Because again, we've started this at an early age.
And like Cohen wants to use his allowance money.
Yeah.
Like his own money. He doesn't want me to spend, he wants to spend his own money so that he can buy stuff.
For his brother and sister.
Yes.
And it is something where, again, if you foster the stuff early, it's much easier to maintain it, right? It's not that hard to teach it at 3, 4, and 5. It's way easier to teach it then than it is to teach it to them when they're 12,
13, yeah.
Right? But you can teach them about that. You can teach them the true meaning of Christmas. You can teach them that Christmas is obviously the perfect time, but how nice it is just to give somebody a smile when you're out, right? How it's easy to be kind. And just around this time of year, there's so many examples for all those good manners and being thoughtful and all that stuff. It's so easy to teach that stuff and reiterate that stuff right now.
Yes.
Because everybody's talking about it and almost everybody's happy. Not everybody, but most.
But yeah, but
most
there's,
people,
there's a lot of joy.
Yeah, when you go out, people
There's a
are
lot
happy.
of joy in the season.
Right? So there's a lot of opportunity to do all that, to work with your kids, to teach them a lot of really good life lessons around Christmas, right? That's all I got.
Okay. I mean, my basic thing is, and I'm working on it. This is probably one of the least stressed years I've been, due to the fact that whatever is going to be. And I'm going to make my shortbread cookies.
Yes, you are.
Don't you worry about it.
I'm not.
Make them every year.
We should have had some for tonight.
Oh, that would have been really good.
Right. I totally could have gone for some cookies.
Anyway.
I meant to get apple cider for this, and I didn't, so I'm drinking Coca-Cola.
I am drinking technically tea, I guess. Anyway.
Not technically. It's tea.
No, it's ginger and lemon and honey, and there's no actual tea.
No.
Anyway, my whole thing is, and one of the things when we were talking about it is, as a mom, one of the things that I've had to learn, I've had to learn how to pare down. I've had to learn how to allow this month to not overwork me, stress me out, and take away the enjoyment of this season.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to do too much, or I'm comparing myself to other people. And, you know, again, even with the kids, we talk to the kids all the time that it isn't about the present. Yeah. Yes, we do want to be a blessing to them because they are good kids and they deserve being blessed. But that's not what it's about. And, you know, they look forward to even other little things on Christmas. It's not, presents aren't the talk about it. It's honestly, it's time with our family.
Yeah.
And it's breakfast. And, you know, I'd say eat. Yes, I know, right? My mouth is like watering. But it's all those other things. And obviously it's about Jesus, first and foremost. I don't know if we've mentioned that yet, but
No, I thought it was self-explanatory.
Yeah, I mean, right.
If you listen to our show,
it's
it should be self-explanatory.
Just throwing.
No, we talked about Santa though. Because why not?
Yeah, so I'm just throwing that out there. But also, one of the reasons, our kids also know exactly what it is, and they do have a grateful heart for it. And one of the things that I really love and enjoy is, honestly, we don't go overboard.
No.
But our kids, maybe I get them a little new fun toothbrush, and this one, has a little character on it, different than, their plain boring ones. And they think that it's the most exciting thing. And it's really amazing watching the gratitude and the grateful heart of these children through this time. And it takes time. It takes time to talk with them. It takes time to, again, as you mentioned, really reiterate some very important heart things during this time of year.
Yeah.
And as we've kind of pared down on the fancy side of it, so to speak.
Yep.
And we've built up on the
family side.
Family side.
Yeah.
It's taken a lot off of me. I've been able to enjoy them more.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just been a much more pleasant.
Well, again, and this is the thing that I continually come back to. I am shocked the number of people, and again, you can go find this info yourself. The number of people who, for lack of a better term, bankrupt the first 6 months of the next year.
Right.
Over Christmas.
Right.
Right? Like it's, and now I sound like a total Grinch, but like, I don't understand it.
No.
And, again, I get wanting to get your kids the nice things. I get wanting to get your kids all the fancy stuff or get yourself the fancy stuff. I get it. But man, like,
it kind of takes away from what Christmas is.
Mm-hmm. Well, I got asked the other day what I wanted for Christmas. And I have no clue.
Right? I know.
Because, one, I'm a grown man. So if I want something, I kind of just go get it. Right? Like, I don't need someone to buy stuff for me that I don't just buy for myself typically.
Right.
Right? But the few things that I do want are quite expensive.
Right.
And I don't expect or want anyone to buy those for me.
Right.
Because they're expensive things.
Mm-hmm.
And not that it's like nothing's overly ridiculous per se, but I wouldn't want us to stretch ourselves so much so that we could have this fairy tale Christmas of like the new car. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So return it, please.
Yes, I'll get right on that.
Call the dealer back.
Call the dealer. I'll cancel it tomorrow.
No, but I'm not going down that vein. But, again, this is likely the best opportunity you have through the entire year to spend quality time with your family without the distractions of work and vacations and travel drama, possibly. All of the other things that come up, because almost everyone spends Christmas at home. Right? With their family. Mm-hmm. So enjoy it. Take the time. Don't get caught up in all the, perceptions of what you think the perfect Christmas needs to be. Just enjoy the time with your family.
And especially, we're a family with younger kids. Our 8-year-old tells me he's not that young anymore, but I'm holding him to it. He's still single digits. But this time is fleeting, and he's a whole year older from last year, and the time is precious. And if I take all my time, effort, and energy into extraneous things, which hold no weight, then I miss being with him.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing more and more that the older he gets, the less and less time I have with him. We still have plenty of time.
Yeah. But it's a clock.
But I am realizing, the things that matter are shifting. And I am doing everything in myself to make sure that I don't overwhelm myself,
mm-hmm.
and that I enjoy my family with what I have. So, and also the fact that this is, I guess, my last thing that I'm going to say.
Is it?
If you don't get to something, nobody's going to know. So it doesn't matter.
No.
If you don't bake all those cookies and you couldn't get all those tins out, it doesn't matter. If you couldn't get the perfect present, that doesn't matter. If you couldn't get all the decorations up in your home, that doesn't matter.
The best present is being present.
Yes.
Right?
It's true.
It is.
So to all you, I mean, I guess to everybody, but I mean, especially to parents and families with young children, not so young children, take the time to just enjoy your family and recognize and realize that perfection is not what you do or how many things you get or how many things you accomplish. Perfection is being present.
Yeah.
And not allowing yourself to get stressed out.
All right, we're going to wrap it there.
Yes.
Hopefully you enjoyed that one amidst all the cuts where we had to take the children out of the video. Thank you so much for joining us. Stay tuned. We only have a couple episodes left this year, but we're looking forward to, obviously, those episodes and the new ones coming down the pipe for 2024.
Oh, my gosh.
So enjoy, like, subscribe, all that jazz. And we will see you next week for another episode of The Matt and Fiona Show. Thanks for coming.
All right, bye now.
Watching, listening, whatever.
All the above.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Go away. Bye-bye now.
Wow.